describe how I'm feeling, but it's just an urgency and these things popping up in my search fields that are giving me understanding to this construct. And so I came across this I guess you'd call it an article that describes the third, fourth, and fifth dimensions. And before 4 days ago, when I came across these CIA documents through Chris and Shirigio, I would have never. I mean, I can't say I would never because I don't know, but I wouldn't have looked at it in the same eyes that I have right now, and it's just given me more direction and more understanding to the construct of this reality. I feel that's what it is. I could have it all wrong, but the way that I feel, which we've been told to not trust our senses, but when you start trusting your senses and you start realizing that your good intuition leads you to good circumstances and higher places, you start trusting those senses. And I've been trusting my senses and following my leads, and they've only led me to a higher understanding of what I am and why I'm here. So that's kind of where I'm at.
That's fantastic.
I
That's
encourage
super
everybody to do
exciting.
the same.
That's awesome. And it's that fear, letting go of that third density fear. I know that they mentioned that as well. Fear being a major element that we have to kind of, it's like walking through a bog of, I don't know, just shit. It's mud and muck, and it's holding you back, and it's weighing you down, and
like you just said, a bog, but actually like a fog. You think about walking on an old country road and you're presented with a foggy path. You don't know what's beyond that fog, but you won't know unless you go and you conquer that fog and you start to understand how that fog works and 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 how you can get through it. So there's a fog among us, and there are pollutants that are making that fog harder to navigate. So understanding this construct of reality um, will help you learn how to conquer the pollutants that are clouding your vision and clouding your consciousness from ascending to that higher way of thinking. And like I told you and Horry earlier, and what I'll tell everybody is how I've kind of imagined it and I've been able to describe it is that you are in a room, let's just say you're in a hotel lobby. You've got all these people, all this furniture, all these pillars, these floors, these levels around you that you can see because the lights are on. Turn off all the lights. Turn off all the lights in the world. You can't see a thing. You have all this stuff around you, but you can't see. You can't navigate through it because you don't have the light, the vision to see it at that point in time. So in our 3D reality, we are given a light to see certain things, which we can touch with our senses. We can touch, we can feel, we can taste, we can experience. But there are higher densities and lower densities, which I'll get into. But these higher densities, this enlightenment, you get new light where you can see a different layer of reality, where this 3D world, let's just say we're like this holographic projection where you see like Westworld, where they project this world out on this open table where all these government officials are walking around and controlling. Imagine it like that. We're in this they've projected this 3D reality onto this plane, and we're all coexisting, or not coexisting, but we're all existing and we're interacting, we're living our daily lives. But there's other layers, different programs in place that can be layered on that plane. But the way to perceive it through a human consciousness is that it's an energy source, a light, because we can only see light. We can only see when there is light present reflecting through our eyes into our pineal gland. And that perceives it, and it's perception, but we can get into that later. But there's different layers among us that we can't see. And this 3D that we're living in, we're able to transcend our consciousness, and it's coming to a fourth density, a fifth density. Basically, love and compassion for all. We're able to perceive everyone's thoughts, everyone's emotions, but there is no evil. But in order to transcend to that density, we have to have the right state of mind, body, and soul. And that's where the ancient teachings come into play, of meditation, of being at one with the source, being at one with the self, finding worth in yourself, realizing that you could be alone for the rest of your life and it would not matter because you have everything you need to sustain yourself. Being at one with self will bring you to higher densities. And these densities, like I said, act like light layers. There's a whole world around us that we can't see. Some people can see it, right? You hear of these people who see other beings, they interact with people who aren't there. It's because they're able to perceive these higher densities. They just don't know that they're not aware of the densities, so they can't discern. They can't separate and say, oh, you're like a fourth or fifth density the product, and I like, they're not thinking that way.
Right.
And so the more who start to understand the construct of this reality, which is revealed in those CIA documents, the more that we're able to perceive this third density light that is given to us, and may start to discern the lies and the cover-ups out of this third density to transcend to that fourth density place, that fourth density. Our flesh bags, this is just a way for us to be on this plane of existence. This is our gateway into this third density. You can't exist outside of a flesh bag, right? All life that we see, bugs, animals, humans, have a flesh bag.
Well, you can exist out of it. It's just not the natural state.
You can't see it. It's in the fourth or fifth density. We can't see those beings. In this third density, you exist in a flesh bag, whether you're a bug, an animal, or a human.
You can't interact with other third density beings.
Yes, exactly. And
I mean, you can, but they have to. Now, if you're both in fourth, you're talking astral projection in that.
Yeah,
and you can do more things.
Forget astral projection for now. We'll touch on that.
I'll just drink my beer.
But when you're no, interact here. When you're in the third, think of it from our human eyes, our human flesh bags. We can only act with third density beings who are in flesh bag. Like I said, whether that's bug, whether that's or like insect or animal or human, they're catalysts for the consciousness.
Yeah, because you can't hear it telepathically, so you have to speak.
Yes.
You have to draw something. You have to be able to touch somebody, which is why sex comes up in the third density as well.
Right. We have this urgency to connect with other beings. But when we bring it back to ourselves, and you realize you have everything you need inside of you to sustain yourself and transcend from this density, that's when the light starts to brighten.
Perfect example of that. I've got to share this. I just saw a meme on Facebook today, and it was Keanu Reeves talking about single people are lonely. They said, I'm single and I'm not lonely. I take myself out. I go buy clothes. I take myself to dinner. I'm very comfortable in the company of myself.
Yeah.
And he is a wonderful example of a human being that is fairly well in the process of transcending.
Yeah.
You can't do the Matrix and not be affected.
Yeah.
But I think he was kind of cool before too, so.
Yeah. But that's where it all comes down to is getting back to, you think of this, you think, what is a higher place? What is a better place than this? A place that has no evil, a place that has no hurt, nothing of any evil or construct that we can imagine, a place of all good. And that is the heaven. We can transcend to the fourth density, which is that type of heaven. This is a learning place. This is a learning realm. And we're exposed to what we're exposed to until we're ready to transcend. And so if we can practice love, compassion, forgiveness, and gratitude for all, starting, you hear this, right? Follow the white rabbit. Here I've broken it down. And this isn't just to target vegans, but I'm going to tell you right now, a key to understanding this third density is you do not consume 3D beings. You don't consume the flesh. The 2D, you think of lower dimensions, people think of evil. No. Think of 2D as the plants and the life without consciousness. They are 2D beings. They don't have a consciousness. 3D begins consciousness. So 2D beings have a life force that feed 3D beings, plants,
eat animals,
natural thing. Yes. But and 3D beings eat the plants. We're supposed to eat the plants. You follow the white rabbit. What is the white rabbit on every product that people know what that white rabbit is? What is on it's on every natural product that you can get. It's on products that do not torture animals. It's on products that do not violate animals and exploit animals. They do not exploit humans. They do not exploit life. You follow the white rabbit, which leads you to not consuming 3D products, 3D constructs. You learn to consume 2D products, which are meant and energized to feed 3D life. You start consuming those products and you can start to transcend your consciousness. You cannot consume 3D life and expect to transcend to the next dimension. And that's where a lot of people hate on vegans, but a lot of the people hating on vegans are NPCs. They are non-player characters meant to disrupt and deviate our consciousness from the correct path. You stop consuming 3D entities and your consciousness will transcend. Ever since I stopped consuming 3D entities, my consciousness is only elevated. And you stop using products that exploit 3D entities. You start to feel empathy for those beings. You become one with those beings. You become back one with the infinite absolute energy source.
Yeah, I want to share something on that. Okay. And I think that you're definitely, you got to be hitting on something. At least we must go through some sort of process when we start deciding to go on the vegetarian or even vegan diet and get away from eating third density beings, like you said, it must be a process, and it must take some time. Because I have been a vegetarian for, I don't know, like 3 years. And due to circumstance and my living situation, I went from eating all organic, GMO-free, preservative-free, vegetarian foods, highest top dollar fruits, and, all to being thrust into a situation for a whole month where I didn't have the money to even buy that. I didn't have the way to buy that. All I had in the house was frickin' meat and shrimp and meatballs and pork chops, and it was like too many temptations, too much stress. All this hit me, and I could have really went out of my way at that point to be still a vegetarian, but I was just kind of screw my life right now, and I took a lot of steps back. For the first time, I picked up, I went right back to smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. And I hadn't smoked in 4 years or something like that. I mean, I stopped smoking 4 years ago and I started vaping, but I had stopped vaping and eating meat kind of around the same time, several years ago. And then I went straight back to smoking a cigarette a day. I went and I ate every kind of meat I could possibly eat during this past month. But the thing is, it was like once I decided, you know what, those damn pork chops smelled really good, screw it, I'm going to take a pork chop. I ate a pork chop. I immediately felt, can you guess, Meeshka? What would you feel if you ate a piece of meat right now? What do you think of the emotion in yourself?
Like shit. Like I killed something that had a life.
Shame. Yeah, and it overwhelmed me. And I could have gone with that feeling and cold turkeyed meat again, but I was still in my situation, And I felt like
one thing somebody put into perspective, I don't mean to cut you off, but here's one thing that I already practiced that I didn't even think of and that I already love. Here's one thing. Beans.
I love
beans. I love beans, man. When I wake up in the morning, I'm like, I want some beans. I have beans. Beans are higher in protein. They are a much cleaner source. They are a pure protein, and they are cheaper, far cheaper than any meat you can get. Anytime you're craving meat, get beans.
Oh, I ain't playing turtle with you. But no, that's you asked when I was telling you about Taco Bell. You know what I got from Taco Bell? A 5-layer bean burrito. Cut out the meat, add extra beans, and I could survive.
There you go.
I could survive off that and French fries all day. Like that was my diet. Beans, French fries, cheese, hash browns.
Hash browns are so good. There's so many good. There's 270,000 fucking plants that we can eat. And we're stuck on 3 main protein sources: beef, chicken, and fish. Beef, poultry, and fish. We have 270,000 plants and over 13,000 sources of protein that we can obtain from plants alone. And we are thriving off those plants. We are when you consume flesh, it doesn't kill you right away. That's what people think. Oh, I ate a burger yesterday. I didn't die. Okay, well, it just gave you about 40 grams of arterial freaking blockage that you weren't even aware of. And the death will consume, when you consume flesh, it will consume your flesh, and it will consume your spirit. It won't kill you right away. And that's it. We have free will in the manner that we're able to eat what we want. We have a choice. But when you start looking at what consuming flesh does to the mind, body, and spirit, and how all the poisons they are infiltrating us with throughout this earth are getting directly into those animal products that we're consuming and the plants, you have to be resourceful in where you source your products from. Not trying to sway from that, but the animals are the first thing that are affected because there's 40 billion pigs a year that are slaughtered just to keep up with the demand. That's just pigs. And what are they feeding those pigs? They're feeding those pigs GMO corn and soy, feeding the cows GMO corn and soy. Those are the fields where you see the people in hazmat suits out there spraying the shit and getting rid of all the bugs. That's your direct source to disease. And meat creates a bacteria in our bodies. You cannot get this bacteria unless you consume animal protein. The bacteria literally immediately evolves. If you, let's say a vegan started eating meat for more than 3 to 5 days, that bacteria would literally evolve into a bacteria that produces what's called trimethylamine N oxide. And that trimethylamine N oxide is what literally blocks insulin and immediately clogs our arteries. It's the gateway to heart disease. It's literally the gateway. It's a gateway to cancers, gateway to diseases. Take out all the pollutants. Just animal protein alone causes your body to start producing trimethylamine N oxide. And if you don't believe me, look it up, y'all. When you follow the white rabbit, you realize that compassion for all beings is the direct source to a higher self. You will activate that pineal gland. That's your first way to decalcify that pineal gland. Get rid of the fluoride, too.
Yeah, that's...
Sean and I talked about fluoride.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Are you seeing this, Horry? The issue with the picture?
What?
It's...
When I clicked on this right here and it went... That?
That, and then, like, on my end, when you talk, it doesn't show you. You're like cut off.
It's because on my stream, I'm streaming the Google Hangout with me in the bottom corner. So you're seeing what I'm streaming to my people. I could do this right now and everything would look back normal again. But they can't see you guys talking in the Google Hangout. So, yeah, I might go back and forth. Oh, there's that decapitated Fepe. Oh, we all know him, huh? Thank you. I like to put that in there. But yeah, I want to ask you, Meeshka, the plants feed the third density beings, right? Well, what about Venus flytraps? They're an anomaly there. What's going on there?
Well, we don't eat Venus flytraps.
Okay.
Let's just get that straight right away. There's nothing nutritional about a Venus flytrap.
Do we eat any animals that eat other animals, like regularly?
Okay, well, yeah, we do, but we're not supposed to.
Like, what would be other... Okay, so fish eat plankton and
other fish,
worms and other fish. So fish would be bad.
Fish are bad.
Poultry.
Plus, they're infiltrated with mercury and toxins from all the shit we spill into the earth, into the oceans. All the animal agriculture waste that gets pumped into the oceans, the rivers, the waterways, all of our fluoride, all of our pharmaceuticals. They're finding more birth control in the oceans than they've ever found before. So the fish are by far probably the worst thing you can eat.
Okay, I want to say this because I want to believe in everything that we're talking about because I believe in karma and I want to stop. I want to get off the meat diet again. If I could cold turkey cigarettes after going a month and smoking a pack a day out of nowhere.
Dude, I just quit for like 4 months and I just started smoking again. Don't worry about cigarettes right now. Worry about what you're putting in your body that's like food. Just start with what you can first.
Well,
don't overwhelm yourself.
Okay, well, here's why I'm saying that I'm trying to figure all this out, and I'm offering just my experience here. This is what I know. I went on the meat diet again a month ago, ate all kinds of meat, every freaking meat. I ate shrimp, ribeye, salmon, all kinds of stuff. If I was going to break my diet, screw it. I'm going to break the hell out of my diet because I'm going to go back off of it in a month. And I wanted to see in a way how it would affect me. Well, the first thing I did when I moved to Caroline's and I fell asleep in my studio here with my bedding that I made, and I had the first out of body, not just out of body, but fully conscious out of body experience that I've had in a long time. But I had been so toxic with cigarettes and nicotine. And I'm sure fluoride and chlorine because I was drinking bottled water instead of distilled water. So I had so much toxins in me, and including all the meat. I had a fully conscious out-of-body experience the first time in a long, long, long time. And I'm thinking that I'm trying to rid myself of all these toxins and stuff to have such experiences more on the regular. Totally blew my mind. The only thing I think that made that happen, and it has to have nothing to do with the toxins I had in me, but the fact that I quit smoking pot. I hadn't had pot in like a long time.
Well, you look at the ancient Native American, or even the current Native Americans, tobacco is one of the ways to access the higher realms. And so I don't discredit tobacco at all. But, maybe you have certain things in your genetic makeup or your consciousness that these other or this higher intelligence is trying to convey or communicate with you, doesn't necessarily mean that meat is going to inhibit your ability to access those realms. It just means that it's the way I see it is that when you have that ultimate understanding, the compassion for all beings, that's your entryway into that higher dimension. Doesn't mean that you won't be exposed to it in the meantime. They're trying to tell you something. Open your awareness because you're worthy of it. You have the light in you to see it. You just have to practice the right ways of your current 3D consciousness to activate it. So that's kind of where I'm at. I ate meat my entire life. I'm still where I'm at right now. Even though I ate meat my entire life, I was still guided on the right path because ultimately I knew that I would get to where I need to be. And now the ways that I'm practicing, I've realized have opened up a lot more truth to me since I've been practicing this way. So I don't think that eating meat is going to inhibit your ability to gain access to these. I think that you already have that ability within you. But to access, from what I've learned, and I could be wrong, but from what I've been researching, the ancients or the masters, the current masters of these higher realms, they do practice without consuming 3D flesh. You look at the Buddhist monks, you look at the yogis, you look at all these masters, they do not consume the flesh. But there are indigo children. We're meant to spread truth. We're meant to enlighten others. And we're still going to be involved in this 3D construct, but we've been manipulated. Hold on.
There you go. Kill it. Kill it.
Hold on.
Beat it.
So no, we're still part of this 3D construct. So they have to work within the rules of this realm. They're still going to influence us in ways and open our eyes in ways that can accelerate us to higher dimensions. But we're still part of this 3D construct, but which we have to break free from. It's breaking free from the matrix.
Either Caroline's home or someone's breaking in.
Uh-oh.
They're breaking into the matrix.
Check, make sure she doesn't need help. How big was your order?
That's okay. I hear the crinkling bag. That's Taco Bell in there. All right.
Oh my God.
That's good enough for me. Well, and they're comfortable enough to use the kitchen sink. Good.
Kitchen sink? I don't get it. I'm fiddling with things noises, on my end here.
I'm hearing noises in the other room. It's like, if they just broke in, they're comfortable enough to use the kitchen sink.
Oh, I get it. Yeah. I little slow on the uptake. I apologize.
There you go. Just take another hit. Take a hit from me.
Right? I totally will. After I finish getting this picture set up.
I worked in the meat industry. I mean, I worked for Sanderson Farms as a chicken farmer, believe it or not. And it was a job that was absolutely disgusting, but it thrust me right into the poultry farming business. And the amount of crap we would feed these chickens. Okay, first of all, we would get them, day one, they would be no bigger than this computer mouse I'm holding in my hand. Little chicks, little yellow chicks. Some of them would be green, some of them would be sort of purple, some of them would be just different colored, pink. I mean, the hell? They were injecting a couple of these chickens with whatever the hell they're injecting them with to turn them different freaking colors. No lie. Some of them would have 2 heads. Some of them would have 3 legs, 4 legs.
Oh, dude, I've seen it. I already know.
Some of them would have completely turned backwards heads. I mean, whatever. I guess some of that's normal. But the pink and purple and green and blue looking little chicks, like, what the hell are they doing?
And anyway, that's what people are consuming.
That's what people are consuming. These
genetically modified beings.
Yeah.
We're not supposed to consume. We have everything we need.
Yeah, so I was, part of our job was to fill up their water supply. We'd have a big 7-gallon bucket and this little tube that went into it, and this thing would suck out some of that water and disperse it throughout that whole chicken house. And we had a bucket in each one. And these things are 100 yards long and about half a football field wide. And it would suck, what it was in there was a shit ton of vitamins and steroids. So the chickens would go from this big in day 1 to, I think, day 35, they would be full grown.
Day 35, they're like 4 or 5 pounds.
4 or 5, 7-pound chickens. Yeah, 4 or 5 pounds at least, but disgusting. Up to 7-pound chickens.
And they can't even fucking walk,
dude. They can't even fucking walk. Yeah.
No.
They can't even walk. And
it's disgusting.
The whole business was crazy because the ones that weren't able to grow that tall, like, our job was to kill the runts. So not only did we have to walk up and down the chicken houses and fill up the buckets with these dead chickens, but we'd have to kill off the ones that were just too small. It was a really harsh business, and I got out of it in just like a year or so. Like, I was like, dude, I'm like, this is a multi-million-dollar farm family business. I would have been set for life instead of paycheck to paycheck broke ass Horry right now, but I couldn't do it. I had a soul that got it. Like, this is not for me, and it pissed my dad off, but I had to stop doing that business. But we're feeding them so much steroids and crap and garbage. Listen to this. Me and a couple of friends of mine, when we were deciding to go camping one night, so we were like, yeah, let's go camp out at a little pond where we fish. We'll throw up some tents. Let's go grab a chicken or 2 from the chicken houses. Let's, pluck them and try to roast them over the fire. And we thought we had a meal, right? We all got sick as dogs eating that chicken. Why? Well, we found out why. the chickens, when they go to the slaughtering house after those 35, 40 days or whatever, they have to get plucked and then bleached at the chicken plant to rid them the freaking meat of the chickens from all the crap they've been eating. That's how bad it is. Bleached.
That's how bad it is.
I mean, we all was like throwing up for like 2 days straight and diarrhea. It was like disgusting, terrible sickness. We all thought we were going to die. And then we found out what happened. You can't do that kind of stuff with these chickens.
And see, that's the thing. Even like my parents, 20 acres, they raise the hay to feed their animals, and they do slaughter some of those animals to consume. And so you take away all those pollutants that you're speaking of, you take away all that, it still breaks down to what that flesh does to our cells on a cellular level and the destruction it does to our flesh bags. And you add all those pollutants in and it kills us faster. And that's what the masses are consuming. These factory farms are what distribute the flesh that 98% of the world consumes. You don't get places like my parents' farms. You don't get, I mean, you can, but no, like, everybody's like, I eat organic, I eat that. No, you're not going out to these individual farms who are raising the grass. It still doesn't matter. It's what the flesh does to the body on a cellular level. You can't escape that. That's where it breaks down. Is it doesn't matter how clean you think that meat is, that meat destroys the human body.
Would you say that you need to alkalize your body to rid yourself of that?
Absolutely. Yes. Cancer disease, it's going to have a very limited chance of surviving in an alkaline environment. You destroy the pH or you balance the pH, then you rid the disease and the cancer.
And you can't be too alkaline, right? That's not healthy for you to be too alkaline.
Well, I mean,
I've heard that recently, and I was surprised. But I want to bounce that off you.
I don't think so. I think it's more you look at the vibration or the frequencies in the foods because you can measure those, and things at a lower pH also vibrate at a lower frequency. So I think that there's a balance involved in consuming the products because here's where it comes into play is a lot of people won't consume fruits because they're acidic and they have a very low pH. But fruits are vital for eradicating the free radicals that come from these pollutants. So it's not necessarily pH has a lot to do with it, but you have to look at the frequency at which these plants, it's only plants. I mean, meats and that thing, they're very, very they don't vibrate at a frequency that you want to consume. But there are various, even though you have to look at vibration and the pH. Plants are acidic or fruits are more acidic, but they're not going to disrupt the energy frequencies that maintain your consciousness.
I will offer up a recipe for those of you who would like to know how to alkalize your body. One of the things that I was doing for a while was I would get my distilled water from my distiller. I'd run it through my coffee maker to heat it up, basically. And that's so I get a tall glass of hot water, as hot as I could take it. And then I would take a lemon, cut it in half, squeeze half a lemon or half a shot of lemon juice, basically, into that hot glass of water. And then half a shot of apple cider vinegar. I think it was Bragg's.
Yes. With Mother.
With the Mother,
make sure you get
right.
It with Mother.
With the Mother, right. Bragg's is a good brand.
Bragg's is great.
Half a shot of lemon juice, half a shot of apple cider vinegar, Bragg's with the Mother, and then I would season it with cinnamon and honey to make it taste
and
not like
a little
crap.
extra boost. You can add sliced ginger, let it marinate in that hot water.
Oh, okay. Some people even do cayenne pepper in it.
Cayenne pepper's great.
Right. So, make you a drink like that. Drink a tall glass of water right in the morning. Now, it will kind of get your metabolism going, but at the same time, I think it does dehydrate you a little. So don't hesitate to drink water after that too. Keep yourself a little more
water
hydrated.
Water is key.
Yeah. But do that every day, and you just won't get sick, man. I haven't gotten sick in a long time. The only time I got sick in the past 4 years is when I drank too much, and I think everybody knew that night that I drank on my stream, and I was offline for a day, and everybody started the rumor that I was in the hospital.
Send in the SWAT team.
Dude, I'd done that to myself 3 times. I would, I'd drink so much, I'd wake up the next morning and I'd feel fine, but then I would just be puking the whole day, like dry heaving. So, yeah, I've done it to myself. But when I was alkalizing my body consistently, I would watch people around me get sick, and I'd be like, well, shit, I'm just going to get my drink and make me a drink every day. If y'all are getting sick, I know what to do. And it's a combination between that and kombucha. We used to grow our own kombucha in the house, and I have no problem eating those thick little scobies. I don't know if y'all know what kombucha and scobies are.
Yep.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could take those thick, they were like pancake boogers. And you can eat them, and they're filled with great vitamins like vitamin B12 and B6. I think it's B6 too, but
pancake boogers.
It's like pancake
just in time
boogers
for Halloween,
dude. Oh yeah. I mean, they look disgusting, but if you already like the taste of kombucha and you get used to the taste of these scobies, it's almost like they energize the hell out of you. Every time I would eat a SCOBY, it's like I took a Red Bull or something. I was like zen. But yeah, this stuff's really healthy. Between alkalizing your body with that drink mix and some kombucha, I mean, you're never gonna get sick. It's actually kind of mind blowing how we can really fight off all the common cold and everything just by alkalizing.
It is.
Sorry.
What?
Don't be sorry.
I just totally was fiddling with the image on YouTube.
What are you doing with the image?
I made it prettier. I added the chakras. I have a nifty little image. I grabbed I hope you don't mind. They probably should have asked. I grabbed your dude that reminds me of the Space Invaders, but it's actually the Horry sheet.
Oh, you grabbed something of mine? I don't see it though. I want to see it. Where's it at?
The red guy, you gotta go to the YouTube channel.
I'm on your Seana Collins YouTube, but I still see the old thumbnail for the live stream we're doing.
Oh, it shouldn't. It should be showing that with the my live stream is showing it. I've got
maybe it'll
our
take a
names
second.
up at the top too. Yeah, but kombucha, pancake boogers. Sounds lovely.
I want to tell everybody hi that showed up in my stream real quick because I did totally forget. Mitty HC is in the stream. He says, Horry's back in business. Let's get to flat smacking. Hey,
back in business.
I think I'm going to do some flat smacking tonight. Bob from Glowbusters is in the house. Hiya, D.
Oh,
Hiya, Bob.
Hey, Bob.
Bob's my favorite. I'm going to be
Yes.
staying with Bob and Cammie. They've graciously opened up their home to my friend Darla and I. We're going to be volunteering at the conference. Thank you, Bob. And you know what? Big amount of love and positive energy to Bob and Cammie. They lost their wonder dog today.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm
so
sorry.
lots of love and light to Bob and Cammie and the Nodell family. So sorry to hear that, dude. That's my fur baby died 2 years ago, and it was took a slice out of this consciousness with it.
My condolences to you guys over there, Bob and Cammie.
Yeah.
And
guys.
I got Larry Siebens in the house, and Jay Bird's in there. How
Larry!
you guys? He's in there. What's up?
See, I've come back from the future. Larry's my future ex-husband.
Yeah, right? Just Scuba Dracula's in there. Hey, guys. Just want to say thanks to everybody, all 11 of you showing up in the Flat Smackers live stream.
Very
thanks.
cool.
I don't know if you can see how many people are watching us on yours, Shauna. How many? You got a couple people in there.
No, I'm just doing this for the archive, I think.
Hey, you know what? The universal law of one. If you spread this to one, it spreads to all.
Share the link, guys.
It has the chance.
That's what that means. That means that if anybody likes this, you better copy and paste your link and share it to YouTube or Facebook. Do it up. Pick a good group, whatever you got to share it to. Help us get the word out. You know, a lot of people they don't really know. For a lot of people listening, they're just being exposed to stuff like this, and you never know who's going to take something from it and change their lives. So
it's planting seeds, man.
Exactly.
I mean, 5 days ago, my thinking was completely different.
Oh, really? So you're really new to this way of thinking, huh?
Okay, that CIA document like just completely warped me into a different way of
Oh
thinking.
man. All right. So what I'm gonna do, I've made up my mind, Mishka. I'm gonna take that document, and I guess Christian Chirigio did it, I think, on his own stream.
Yes,
But
that's where I learned about it. Is I woke up
I
in the morning and they had posted a live video breaking that document. I was like, CIA document exposing consciousness. Like, what the fuck? So I went and pulled up the document. I'm like, oh my god.
I'm gonna take and read it because I haven't read the whole thing. I just kind of skimmed over the first couple paragraphs. I was
Nah,
like,
you
yeah,
can't
I
skim.
totally want to get this. Well, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna live stream it, me reading it for the
Okay,
pretty
it's
much
gonna take
first
about
time.
5 hours.
Well, then I may have to break it up, or I might be pretty drunk by the end of that document. But
Exactly.
I'm gonna offer up my take on it as I read it, and I'll probably limit it to like 2 hours or something, and pick it back up. But yeah, I want to read it because that was nice, right in my ear.
Sorry.
No apologies.
No hold back.
I don't care. That was funny as hell. But I think I'm gonna do it because you know what? People are like me. They know it's interesting, but we don't have the time or we don't feel like reading it. And so I'll read it for everybody live. I'll read it word for
I
word
got
and
you. Sorry,
stop.
hold on.
I'll read it for word for word and discuss it and add to it what I think, yada yada. And I think that's how I will not only take it in, but also plant the seeds and share it with everybody who doesn't actually really want to read it. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm gonna do, and that way I'm caught up with what you what you woke up to. Because I mean, yeah, when did they go into astral projection or remote viewing in that?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. Out of body experience. Yeah.
yeah.
That's specifically described in there. And what's interesting is they go through 37 points of how the construct of our reality and consciousness works, and how we're able to not manipulate in a bad way, but manipulate that space time frequency, whether it's good or bad. So it goes through the constructs of everything and how we're able to access it and manipulate it. And one of the critical parts that this document leaves out, it goes to number 34. Halfway through number 34, it's cut out and it skips to number 37. I requested to the CIA under the Freedom of Information Act. I would be very surprised and highly satisfied if I actually get anything from this. I doubt that I will, but I requested those pages because as you get through the construct of everything, you get to number 34, you have a very like realistic understanding. If you're not fucking, if your third eye ain't ripped open by that point, I don't know what to tell you. But I'll tell you what, you get to number 34, you're like, I need more. And then it cuts off halfway through 34 as it's starting to describe how the absolute infinite energy source or God or the creator, whatever you want to fucking call it, how that works. And it cuts off because they don't want us to know. So I was just like, yeah, I'm going to take the high road here and fucking request it and see what happens. So
if you get an answer, let us know.
I'm posting it. Yeah, I'm anticipating waiting about 6 months, like Jaren did for his ISS footage. But we'll see what happens.
They're still jerking his chain, huh?
But it's very important information that is taken out of that, and you can tell the sentence just ends, and you're like, oh my god, like I lost my shit, and I was like, I gotta find out more, and that's what motivated me to look further into these densities and this construct that is described and confirmed in these documents.
Wow. Well, I'm gonna take the time because I have a lot of time these days, especially while I'm waiting for stuff to hit my Fiverr account and more work to come through the pipeline. And you really piqued my interest when you said that it had remote viewing astral projection stuff, and seeing how much it changed your mind and how smart you already are and how much you already know. If this had that much of an impact on you, it really piqued my interest. So I'm gonna do that, and and I'm gonna offer up that to the community. Those of you who like what I do, I have enough information about astral projection firsthand to be interested in it, but I will have good things, I guess, or I hope I'll have good things to say as I read it to everybody on my stream. So I've made up my mind I'm going to do that, and it might be as early as tomorrow evening, tomorrow night. So be looking for that.
Yeah, for sure. It's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be talking more about it on Friday as well. Just for my benefit, I haven't read too awful deep into it yet, but the idea, the fact that it's the Bob Monroe, it's the Monroe Institute.
Robert Monroe,
and, he did pass away. I know that you had mentioned that, Meeshka, you didn't know.
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure.
But the concept of just using both hemispheres of the brain and being fully activated. You know, I like the word activated because it does kind of bring to mind what we're trying to reach for with things like this. So very cool.
Yeah, no, and it literally describes how we can manifest what we want into reality. And I'm literally, like I said earlier, I'm relating this to my current life. I'm manifesting me having discussions with certain people that I've wanted to. I've manifested relationships that I didn't even realize that I manifested. I'm like, how did I even get here? How did I even get to staying at Bob and Cammy's house for the conference?
Right.
It's because I focused my energy on meeting these good people and manifesting these relationships that I felt were valuable to my consciousness, my 3D reality. And I was able to be guided by these forces, this energy to manifest these relationships into the reality of my timeline. And so that's how I'm kind of relaying it now. It's not even just like, no, I'm not going to manifest winning the lottery. It's not like that. It's manifesting things that are for the greater good of humanity and for the self. Things that will develop the self, develop the consciousness, bring you to a higher understanding of this realm. And these relationships we have with other people are very important. And that's why we need to turn to each other. We need to lean on each other and have these discussions with each other, because this really helps a lot of other people open up their eyes to these ideas that have never been thought about before. I never thought about this shit 5 days ago. Fuck.
Yeah. Wow. That's really cool. You're so new to it. You got a good grasp on it. I talked to a friend of mine for years, and he was talking about 4D, fourth dimension, living in the fourth dimension reality. And he mentioned a lot about a way to get there was removing, forgiving himself for a lot of his own personal guilt.
Yes.
And that was like
forgiveness
was totally his ticket there. And I've watched it change his life. This way of thinking evolved this man spiritually and in his own mind. But in the same token, he wasn't able to see that Earth was flat. So yeah.
You know what? It's gonna take some people some time. I think that there's.
Oh boy! Wait.
You know, it's a hard concept to grab because of the indoctrination at hand. You know, I can't really.
You know.
You just gotta plant those seeds, man. And you know what? Everyone's gonna resonate with different seeds. Maybe not plant the flat Earth seed. Maybe plant the CIA document seed that opens their mind to the idea that, wow, there's other densities. I'm like, wait, it describes the cosmic egg in the CIA. What's the cosmic egg? Oh, it's a flat Earth plane in the center of a torus field. Who knows where it's at? But it's the idea that this realm is flat and it's constructed and surrounded and oscillating within energy fields, the torus field. So different seeds can plant different ideas that will lead to the same understanding. Yeah, we can't just project that flat Earth on everybody. You got to plant these different avenues. Everybody's going to come to their own understanding.
You know who I put him with to make sure that he had all the best opportunities to frickin' wake up? I put him in a live stream with David Weiss and I, and Anthony Riley, Sleeping Warrior. If that's not going to do it, the guy is screwed.
You know what? There are people, they're not ready for the 4D, the 5D, and that's okay. And I've kind of let go. Uh-oh.
I'm sorry. I might
it's okay.
Bump my mic. No, you're right. The guy was literally scared. Every time he would start to like transcend into, like, he said his reality would start to break down. He would start to see like literally the third dimension start breaking down. He saw white everywhere. Like he would reach a point where he approached this all loving, all forgiving, full nothing but love.
It's that fourth
energy.
density.
Yeah, the fourth density energy or source
He's
energy.
trying to receive that light, but
he's trying to, but he ran from it. He was fearful of it. He was and he would battle this over and over and over again.
It's funny that you bring that up because you think of Plato's cave, or is that what it's called? Is it Plato's cave? It is. I'm pretty sure it's don't quote me on this. I'm pretty sure.
I don't know Plato's cave.
Allegory of the cave. So there's all this idea that there's all these people in this cave. They've been chained inside this cave, and they've only been able to see shadows from the fire that these other entities have lit. So one of them breaks free from the cave and walks out, and they're scared of the light, right? The light brings all this scariness. And so one of them breaks free from the chains and goes out into the light and is absorbing the sun, is loving this light. They see all the beauty around them. And they go back and they try to explain this to the people in the cave who are chained to their understanding, and those people kill him because of his newfound beliefs and his understanding. And some people are going to be chained to this understanding, and all we can do is try to plant seeds. And if we can't plant those seeds, you just move on. Plant seeds and move on, because if they're meant to understand, they will. And if they're not, they won't. But we can't tie our consciousness to those beings. Yeah. You know, we're indigo children. We're meant to plant seeds. We're light bearers. We bring the light. We bring this newfound way of thinking, and whether it wants to be received or not, it will by some, and that's what's important. One is better than none, and one will spread to all.
Hell yeah.
Go ahead, Sean.
Oh no, that was just a hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
This guy was an extremely intelligent guy, a very, very well-researched guy. And every time I'd talk to him, I'd be like, what you been up to, bro? And he was like, oh, man, just researching, man, growing, researching, learning, reading, and all the time. And I was like,
send him the CIA document.
I could. I mean, we're not like...
Just out of the blue, he's going to be like, wow, I haven't talked to Horry in so long. Like, what's this document he sent me? And he's going to be like, holy smokes.
We pretty much ended our relationship because I was like, dude, I can't sit here and be in a friendship where I don't have any global friends.
But never stop trying.
Never stop trying. Well, you know what?
Never stop planting those seeds.
Skype hits me up. I don't know where. I didn't even know Skype did this. And now I can't even think of a good enough reason why Skype ever would do this. But Skype says, hey, Horry, why don't you send Daryl a message? You haven't talked to him in a while.
Did it really?
Yes, recently? It did. Yeah. They have
then you should definitely send him the document.
2 days ago. I'm going to do it now. I'm going to do it because you guys told me to.
The universe gives you, but we're made to discredit these senses. I'm telling you, when the universe sends you something your way, react to it. Send them seeds. Plant those seeds.
Like when Caroline asked me if I wanted a beer, and it was 7-Eleven, so I had to say yes.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Say yes all the time. Shit.
No, I mean these gosh, what do you think about the synchronicities of the universe?
Synchronicity is all around us. There's sacred geometry everywhere. We have the flower of life within everything around us. All plant matter and organic beings, including our DNA, have the construct of the flower of life. Everything around us that is not man-made. And this sacred geometry also coincides with numerology, which also has a special the binary system that governs this matrix construct has meaning. So when you start seeing things like you mentioned the other day, which I didn't bring up, Horry, 11 and 33 is a big example. I wanted to reject it right away, but about 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, I was like, okay, I'm seeing the 11-11 thing. Like all of a sudden I look at my phone, it's 11. My friend's mom's constantly posting, oh no, I'm seeing it. And I constantly look at my phone, 33%. Look at as 33 all around me. And then I start looking into the numerology of 11 and 33. and then how it ties in with sacred geometry, and it's just more confirmation that my consciousness is on the right path.
Yeah, on the right path.
I'm going to tell you do the same thing. There are no coincidences. There is sacred geometry. Wow, sorry. Sacred geometry. There is numerology that governs everything that we see. We don't see it physically, and we're physically attached to that physical connection. But when you start looking at the binary systems that govern everything, it starts to make more sense.
I'm going to tell you right now, I was looking to see how many people watching my live stream, and I saw there was 11 people watching the live stream, and I looked over to the left to see how long we've been streaming, and it was like 54 minutes and 33 seconds. So there was the 33 and the 11 right there.
See, right there.
And it only had a second to display that 33 because it went right to 34.
Damn.
So I was like, that's why I laughed. I'm like, dude, I mean, but Meeshka, all freaking day long, I see the 11s now. I mean, like 5 times a day.
Look into that. Look into those numbers. They're meaning, they're trying to speak to you, saying, wake up your consciousness.
It's telling me I'm on my path. What's that, John?
Not only that, but pay attention to what's going on around you and how you, like, check in with yourself when you see that. That's kind of imperative too, to know where you're at and what's going on, and actually to be present. Like, be aware when you stand up from a sitting position.
Yeah. What are you thinking about at that time? Like you said, what is going on in your life? What are you thinking about at that time? All of a sudden, that's confirmation. Yes, when you start to see those numbers and then you think about what you're thinking about, you're going to realize that you're thinking about the right things. And then you're going to start to think about those things more, which are going to manifest these good things more and more in your life.
Yeah.
You have to pay attention to these things, these universal signs that are feeding you knowledge. It's telling you
confirmation.
Yes, pay attention to yourself. Yourself knows what's best. Trust your senses.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. I know that we are more than flesh-body prisons. I have been down that road. I have done the astral projection, the energy healing, the going through a wall and spying on people 4 different times. I've seen into the future. I know that we can transcend the timeline a bit here as well.
We will.
I mean, it's things that I've done sort of by accident for the most part, but.
Right.
But
let's roll into astral projection. Let's get into that realm.
Well,
it's a reality. It's a real thing, and people need to understand that I haven't done it yet. I'm going to start practicing to try to achieve that. It's a higher level thing, but some people have natural abilities to do it, like Horry.
No, I won't say I have the natural ability like I can do it every night. It's hard for me, and I don't.
You've done it, which is the universe telling you that you have this power and you're meant to use it in a good way that's beneficial for human consciousness. It's like, to me, you are like this floating sign, like, ah. And you need to exercise these powers.
You know what? I have CRS syndrome.
Can't remember shit.
Yes, exactly. She gets it. But so I will try to take in information, but a lot of, even if I'm really interested in it, most of the time if I'm super interested in it, it'll stick in there. But even some stuff I'm really interested in, it doesn't stick. It's not meant for me to hold in my noggin. But this astral projection stuff, dude.
It's because your higher self already has this knowledge, so it's rejecting this crap that you've already heard, and you already have a higher understanding of it, which is why you're able to achieve it, which is why you're able to do it. It's your higher self speaking to you, saying, hey, learn this, understand it, learn how to harness it, and learn how to use it for good, because it needs to come into play now. This is the Great Awakening. You have a purpose, and you need to exercise that.
I was on the forums, and for anybody who wants to know how to learn this kind of stuff, astralpulse.com is an incredible forum to go to. And I don't know if it was Robert Monroe's site that he managed, or if it was Robert Bruce's site. But anyway, these guys were thinking of similar things, but you go look to astralpulse.com, sign up for a free forum membership, and it's all free. The guy sells a book and stuff, but and you might want to read that too. But the thing is, these people are really, really, really helpful, And I was on there at one time. I was helping other people that would come and ask questions about, well, this is what I experienced. What should I do about this? And I would give advice. Try this, try that, try this, try that. And I have learned so many different things to help people get over their hurdles. So if you're ever going down the path, Meeshka, like, just hit me up and I'll tell you something to try. I'll tell you how to up your chances. I'll tell you that laying down in your bed is the worst way to try to do it, okay? Sitting up, if you can, is the best way to try to do it. It ups your chances by default by like 30-40%. But then you can cheat. If you're lazy, you could cheat, which it's okay to be lazy because it's fine, just as long as you have the experience. So I would say one of the easiest ways to do it would be to wake up at, like, if you go to sleep at 10 or 11 or midnight, we'll set an alarm clock for like 3 or 4 in the morning and wake up and go take a damn shower and then get out the shower, go back to bed or go back to your sitting chair and attempt to go out of body. And what's going to happen is, like, your body, you're not going to want to wake up and go take a freaking shower. If you're like me, you hate doing that.
I was just about to say, like, I can't even get up after like 8 hours of sleep, and it's like I'm doing my makeup in my car on the way to work. Like, this is so far beyond me. Like,
I know, but you got to push yourself to do some of these things. Because the only reason I would do it, because I was going to school, and I hated going to school without a bath the previous night. But sometimes I'd fall asleep, and I'd wake up at 2 in the morning and be like, oh man, I gotta take a bath, a shower.
I know.
So I'd do it, and I hate it. But those experiences brought on more out-of-body experiences in my own house than ever. So I learned that was just going to up my chances. So
well, that makes sense though, because you're waking up your body a little bit by the sensation of the shower, but you're also relaxing and bringing your consciousness up from that level of sleep. So no, that makes perfect sense that you would take a shower and then actually go to a seated position with that intention of moving up.
Yeah. It was totally my body was totally ready to go back to sleep. My mind was just woke up by the shower and refreshed, and the combo is all you need. Your body's still ready to go back to sleep. So as soon as you hit the bed, it's like, oh, thank God. And your mind is like, what do I do now? And your body's going to fall asleep before your mind. That's what happens. Exactly, that's what happens. And then the reason I suggest sitting up is because it's just a little bit harder to go to sleep that way. If you have a lot of trouble falling asleep during your practice, then sit up instead. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of things that you can really do to up your chances or have a random out-of-body experiences. Or just set your alarm clock for 3 in the morning, 3:10, 3:20, 3:30, 3:40. You just wake your ass up every 10 minutes. You're bound to have an out-of-body experience one of those times. If you just keep, or you just keep hitting snooze, just keep hitting snooze and go back to practice again. Hit snooze when it breaks you up, go back to practice again. Just do it like on a day where you don't have to work the next day, but you might have 10 different attempts and one of them's going to frickin' work. One day it's going to work. If you really, really have trouble doing it, do the lazy man's way. That's one of the other lazy man techniques besides waking up to take a shower. Or some people say wake up and go get a glass of water. Just something to wake you up in the middle of the night and go back to bed to try it. It'll up your chances. Totally. Yeah. But I went down that journey of trying to figure out if it was just in my head, if it was just a dream or not. And it took several experiences for me to believe in it. Even though the first 2 were good enough, I still had a lot of trouble believing it until I almost had the cops called on me by somebody. So, yeah, I was like, okay, well, this shit must be real at that point.
The thing about going out of body is you kind of have to have an agreed upon
goal.
Yeah, and if you're going to try to prove the fact that you've gone out, see, some people have found that they put a card on the end of the table and it does not match the one that they see in their mind.
This guy's done that. That's what almost, hey, I tell you, that's what almost made me stop. It was really, really, really demotivating. It made me upset. I was going and I was having out-of-body experiences, and that was my goal. And I'd go look at that damn card, it wouldn't work. And I'd wake myself right back up, and I would be all excited. I'd run to the card at 2 in the morning, and I'd be like, what the hell? So,
see,
no.
I have a friend that does some versions of of her like out of mind stuff, be it, you know, prophetic dreams or astral projection, it can be a 180-degree turn from what's actually there. Or, you know, there could be some effect of your subconscious actually changing the card.
Oh yes, that's it. That's, you said it, nail on the head. That's what happens. So that's why I suggest, if you're going to do a test like that, and make it involve some other conscious being. Every experience where I've gone through a wall to see what someone else was doing, or where they were and what they were doing, those are the only experiences where it's worked. I've done the card experiment 4 or 5 times, and I almost gave up entirely on astral projection. I almost assumed that it's all bullcrap, just controlling your dreams, yada yada, until I accidentally, I had an experience where I learned several different techniques online. So I was trying several different ways to go out of body. And one of the things actually said, hey, just imagine your favorite video game from start to finish. So at some part of my favorite video game on Super Nintendo, it was called Secret of Mana. Your first character that you have falls off of the log into the river, and he goes to get the sword and the stone. And then he travels on, and he has to go through to another town, but you can't get there. So you got to hop in a cannon and be shot there. While my character was being shot there, the game shows an animation of your character flipping over in the air. Well, I'm trying to just imagine this start to finish, because I know the game like the back of my hand. And when the character's flipping in the air from the cannon, I started to feel like I was flipping over and over, head over heels. I felt dizzy, and it was like it was like a physical feeling that I was having. There's some echo, I think. I don't know who it is there, but I was actually feeling the vertigo, and I said, you know what? I'm going to, instead of continuing on with the visual, I'm going to actually just keep this vertigo going until it gets stronger and stronger and stronger. And that's what happened. I was like, boom. And then I flipped like I did a straight up sit up in my bed, and I was looking at my feet. And I looked around my room, and I looked at my body on the bed, and I was like, wow, I just did a tumble set out of my body. So I stood up, and I still was looking at my body, and I was like, what do I do now? And I was like, I don't believe that shit worked. Like, come on, let me see if I can do that again. So I woke up, and then here I was, boom, back laying on the bed, remembered all of that, and I was like, all right. And so I immediately just went back to the flipping character and tried to recreate the vertigo. And all that is doing is creating astral pressure on your body. And I made a video, Astral Tips and Tricks number 3 on my channel, I think, talks about astral pressure. Well, the flipping that I was seeing and attempting to feel was just me pushing my energy body out of my physical frame. And once it got to such a momentum, whoop, I sat right up again, out of body. And so that time I was like, you know what? So I'm like, now what do I want to do? I was fully conscious of what happened both times. I said, I want to walk through a wall. That was my, like, I just wanted to experience going through a physical object. Well, little did I know my dad was in the other room watching TV in his room. So I pushed through the wall, and you know what it felt like? It felt like one of those old CRT monitors, those big boxy monitors when you turn them on, they have the static on the TV on the front, you know. And so it felt real staticky. And so I went. It felt solid. So I was like, what the hell am I going to do with this? It feels solid. So I just backed up and ran into it, flat, smacked him, you know, bam. And that's what my whole body felt like, was that I just went through a wall of static. And then here I am looking at my dad. But the weird thing about it was he had a big king-size bed, and he had one of those ceiling-mounted TVs, and he could easily be at the foot of his bed watching the TV. No problem. But for some reason he could be at the head of his bed where his pillows were, watching the TV at the corner of his room, no problem. But what he was doing was he was sitting at the foot of his bed with his feet dangling over and looking straight up with his neck cranked up watching the TV. And I thought that was like weird. Like, why is he doing that? But and it was at that moment where I said, you know what? Maybe my subconscious mind is now creating the experience, like you were just saying, Seana, with the card thing. And when that happens, if you're aware enough to realize that maybe you're not seeing reality anymore, you can easily slip into just a normal dream and forget the whole experience. So I knew to wake up from that so I would remember it all and take it all in and actually record it and download it. And I think it might be Robert Monroe that talks about the downloading thing. Was that him, Meeshka? Do you remember him talking about? downloading?
I can't confirm or deny. Like, I know what you're speaking of, and I have a hard time. I cannot separate I've been working endlessly, and I've realized I've always spoken about my very realistic dreams, and ever since coming to learn about his research into REM sleep and what dreams actually emulate for consciousness. Now I'm just over the last few days, I'm working to try to take control of that construct. So I know he talks about it because he does a lot of research into REM sleep, but I don't remember specifically what was said about that specifically.
Yeah, see, if you ever go back over it or look into his work, he might mention it's either him or you're talking about Robert Monroe, right?
Yeah, the Monroe Institute website is down right now.
Oh, wow.
Oh, because it's being so flooded with consciousness.
So
this shit is profound.
Robert Monroe is one guy. Robert Bruce is another guy. But one of them talks about downloading the stuff before you slip off into Alice in Wonderland in your out-of-body experience. Like, I thought that my dad sitting at the foot of his bed was not what was really there. So I was like, okay, I got to wake up because I don't want to forget what the wall thing felt like. So I took all of what I saw in and woke up. And I asked my dad the next day, and he freaked the hell out. He was like, how did you do that? I had my door closed, and you didn't come in. How did you know I was doing that? I was at the foot of my bed. I was looking at the TV. Wow. And he was freaked out, and I was freaked out. And then he goes, well, I actually had my pillows behind my back to help me sit up because I was so close to the edge. And I was like, whoa, I didn't tell you about that, but I remembered the pillows now. Once he said that, I remembered his pillows were propping his back up. And that was further confirmation for me that the experience was real. So I suggested, don't do the freaking card experiment. Don't even try that crap. Don't. Just go visit a friend of yours. It doesn't even have to be a best friend. It could just... You don't want to freak them out, though. You don't want the cops called on you.
No, you ask permission first. Be like, hey, is it cool if I do this little experiment at this time or whatever?
I didn't
interrupt anything. And
I didn't ask poor Jennifer, the girl that I was her manager. I didn't ask her for permission, but I saw her in her gray spandex stretchy pants with a pink shiny blanket wrapped up in a fetal position sleeping. And I told her about it the next day, and she was like, calling my wife and my girlfriend at the time, she's like, if your husband ever peeks in my windows at night, I'm calling the cops. I must have hit the nail on the head. And she did confirm it, nail on the head, everything. So involve another consciousness, and I think it matters. That's all I know is that matters.
I just looked at the clock and it's 7:33.
Same here. Where do you live, Meeshka?
I'm in Sacramento, California.
Oh, we're only a few hours away.
Ooh.
Cool. I'm in Arizona now.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You're gonna see me.
We're in the same
time zones.
Yeah.
Time zone.
You know what? You're gonna have to.
the same timeline.
We're gonna have to. We're gonna have to meet up with. Who is it? Is it Flat Earth Dude and Dan the Waterman that do the California Hollywood Squares thing live stream?
I don't know.
Isn't it them? We're gonna have to set up a meetup. We're gonna have to do a meetup. That's it.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
I could wait till after the conference, though. That's going to be a meetup enough.
That's going to be so insane. I can't wait.
Oh.
Yeah.
But for those listening in the California, Arizona area, meetups will be happening.
Yes.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So, question about astral, because we were talking about...
There's Dan the Waterman in the chat.
Lights.
Sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
Huh? Oh, no. Hey, Dan. So with the higher dimensions or higher densities and more lights, I guess, is the thing that we're searching for. And if you think about it, we only see such a small amount of the spectrum. It's so weak that there's got to be so much more going on. And I wonder if, Horry, if you've had any experiences where you've seen other dimensional things, like we were talking about earlier.
Like beings or constructs, anything.
Yes. Yeah. I just,
that was so cute.
I just don't understand what the hell it was, and I don't want to scare anybody.
No, it's fine. That's what it is. Like, people, like, they need to look into these different densities, because this is, it makes so much sense when we've been deviated from this mainstream science narrative, which is justified, absolutely, because we have to think. They're half-truths. There's always discernment involved in everything we do, but there are half-truths. You have to find the full truth. So I think that the things that you may have seen, which only you know of, a lot of other people can correlate with. They've had those same experiences. So the only way to share that is by talking about it.
Well, I'll tell you about it, but I also
leave the fear behind, because remember, fear is a construct of this third density.
Bam!
We have to overcome this fear. We have to speak about it. So go ahead.
That goes along with also the end of what I was going to tell you when I tell you this little short story. Is the first out-of-body experience I ever had was the first and only time I ever had a fearful one. So here it is. I was doing what I was told by my friend, whom I thought he was crazy when he told me he could go out of body. So I did what he was telling me to do, and it worked, but it took 7 days. Well, but during the course of the 7 days, I was falling asleep every time I tried it, and on the 7th night, I got really mad because I felt like I was going to fall asleep again. So out of pure anger, I think I said like a prayer or something in my head. I was like, listen, God, the universe, if this is some experience that I for some reason need to have, then you better let me have it now, or screw it, I'm never doing it again. And all of a sudden, I mean, it was just like that. All of a sudden, I had a feeling overcame me, like a static feeling, and then all of a sudden it was like my eyes opened, but they weren't where my head was, they were where my nipples were. So I was like seeing through my chest, and I was just like the viewpoint, and I'm looking at my feet. It was a different orientation of vision, and then the thing was, there was a big frickin' it was the size of a beach ball, okay, and it was hovering over my feet at the foot of my bed, about 4.5 feet above me, and it was silver, and it was spiky, and it was like a silvery, spiky ball of something, and these little tiny black balls were being drawn into it. It was like it was sucking black shit into it, and also I was then moving towards it very, very slowly. But the creepier part about all of this was my knuckles, my elbows, my kneecaps, my back, my spine, my neck, everything that would bend normally this way was bending the opposite way. And it didn't hurt, it just felt, you know, it was creepy. It was like all my joints were bending the opposite way as I was being sucked into this ball. I couldn't move, I couldn't speak, I couldn't wake up, I couldn't do jack shizzle. I was just freaking out as hard as I could, freaking out about it. And all of a sudden, I managed to break free, and then bam, I woke up in my bed, drenched in sweat. My whole body was pins and needles tingling everywhere. And what do normal people say about that experience? They'd probably be like, I'm never doing that again. But me, I was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna do that shit again.
Dude, that's badass.
That's why I have not had a bad experience again, because I grabbed my kahunas, my astral kahunas.
You know what's crazy?
And they ain't gonna fuck with me no more, right?
Okay, so that ball you saw, I gotta ask, did it in any way, and it doesn't have to, I just want to know, and this will lead me to my next, or just stop me now, was the ball did it represent like a soccer ball type shaped thing in any way?
It was the shape of either a large, it was like a beach ball shape. It was just bigger than a soccer ball. But are you asking if it had the black and white checkered square stuff?
Not black and white checkered squares. Did it have openings that let other balls or black things out of it, or blue things that actually deflected black things.
It was doing something, Michelle. It was doing something. It was a beach ball size thing, and it had a bunch of spikes everywhere, like the frickin' Sputnik satellite kind of thing. And it was drawing these tiny black balls into it, like it was sucking energy from
from the surroundings, or
yes, yeah, from the surroundings.
So there has been there.
I don't know.
You've got the blue avion guidance, dude.
Oh, great! What the hell does that mean?
That's great. There's an energetic barrier that has been protecting light bearers or even this world for a long time, and it's showing you that power because there's whatever you want to call them, archons, reptilians, Dracos, these entities of the other dimensions that are trying to infiltrate our consciousness and lead us astray. And that is literally the universe showing you there. I could get way deep into this, but there is, that's that it's like a meditation ball that is protecting this realm. Wow. And that's showing you all these evil, these black forces that are being sucked into it, these Dracos, these archons, these evil entities, and it's deflecting those away from your consciousness. That was showing its protection to you.
Like these things were probably trying to leech off of me, but that sucker was there sucking it in like an air purifier.
It is.
I you know what? I didn't feel like that thing was evil. I just was
Here's what it is,
I was scared of the feeling that my body felt like. It was
deflecting that evil. They've learned how to piggyback off our consciousness to try to ascend to these higher densities. They attach themselves to our consciousness to try to ascend to these higher densities. They cannot go, but they suck out our energy and they basically convert it into, or they tried to convert it. But when you've got compassion, forgiveness, gratitude, love on your side, which you are radiating, it's showing that you are deflecting that. Like that's in its pure form showing your power deflecting these evil energies away from you. That's like profound.
Wow. That's crazy, man. I don't know enough about it. All I know is that after that experience, when I was not fearful, I did not stay in a place of fear. I never had that experience again. Every other experience thereafter in the astral, nothing screws with me. So, yeah. A lot of it has to do if you figure into it. I've always assumed that you would have an experience like that where you're gonna experience something that's going to scare you if you project with anger.
You have to
face
your demons.
Fear. Well, I faced something and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do that again. You know, like.
You were able to reflect it. That's you've got the power. You've got the power of the cosmos. Whether people want to think of space, you've got the power. For real, like we all do. Like it's the universe trying to tell you, like, you are made for so much more. And, like, don't forget that you have that power within you. You just need to learn how to channel it and radiate it in a way. And you're doing that. You're making these videos. You're talking to people. You are getting that information out there. It's a confirmation that you're on the right path.
I've had advice for several people in their life that were on this out-of-body travel journey, and they would get stuck. And I would say, hey, try this. And they would come back and say, dude, thank you so much. That worked. I had my first OBE. So I have, like, something in me I have a lot of, I'm like a walking encyclopedia on shit to try if you're trying to go out of body. So, like, don't hesitate to reach out, especially if you get to a point where I'm doing this and I experience this, but then nothing else happens. What should I do? And I might have an answer to, hey, try this, try that, try this.
Yeah.
You got a slew of videos, too.
My 3 videos really hit a lot of nails on the head, but I need to elaborate on some things. I just don't know exactly what people know or need to know. So,
right.
Yeah.
I would say don't really worry about what they know or don't know. Take them to the unknown.
Well, I don't want to.
Nice.
I don't want to. Yeah, I like that. Take them to the unknown. I don't want to. I don't want to repeat information, so I don't want to like. I guess I should just do live streams where I just kind of repeat my stories and my how-tos and then
You
because
never
other
know
people
when it's going to reach someone.
a new person,
okay.
right? A new
Just
person.
say that. Like, I've touched on this in this video. Reference that video. Then that'll open. They'll go look at that video too because they'll want a further understanding of it. Like, I think of Glowbusters when they do that too. We've touched on this before, or other channels too. Like, it's okay to touch on the same subject because when it's so profound and it needs resonance, you have to fucking radiate that. Like, it's okay to repeat.
Not only that, but the way that you explain it may be different, may actually tap into something that somebody else can relate to.
We all come to further understandings of things, and sometimes we can describe things later better than we did previously,
Yeah.
I just want to pause for a minute and say hi again to everybody in the chat. Midi HC, Glowbuster's still in there.
Damn, Bob hanging out.
He's hanging out.
Damn.
Hug Cammy for us.
Yes.
We'll
big
be
hug.
doing that
Whole
soon.
family hug right now. I'm gonna remote view you guys.
I'm
hug
so gonna give a hug out to the universe.
Big hug.
Midi HC says you better hit up Dan Rez. What you got, Horry? What's he talking about? I don't know what he's talking about.
Daniel Reza, he's a good guy.
Okay. And then
I was talking to him earlier.
And then GM CDXX in the house says, what up? What's going on? Cammy says, hi, everyone, says Bob.
Cammy!
Hi, Cammy!
Yay! Big hugs. Like, the universe is hugging you guys right now.
Seriously.
I feel it. This big old
I do too.
arm
It tingles.
around me, it tingles like this big old velvety arm around me. Oh, this happy moon just hugging everyone. Got this big old smile. I
can't wait to meet Bob and Cammy. I said, guys, this is what I want to do when I get to the conference. One of the things that I want to do is take a selfie next to Bob and Robbie. Because
you need like a selfie stick because Bob is like 100 feet tall. He's Nephilim for sure.
I'm confirmed. Like, I'm 5'3", and Bob is big, and Robbie's really tall as well.
Robbie's like absolute Nephilim.
It's
100%. Like,
it's gonna be an epic selfie. So Bob, I'm telling you right now, me and you and Robbie already knows.
We can make like a taper, like a gradient. It'll be like Seana, and then me, Horry, and then Bob, and like Jaren, who's taller, Jaren or Bob? They're both.
Jaren's tall too.
I'm telling you, giants exist.
Giants exist.
You'll see the proof in the pudding. Real soon.
That's why I want to take the picture because I'm so short, and I know Bob and Robbie are so tall. It's just gonna be meme worthy as hell. So
I think it's me, Carly Sunshine, and like Erie Landucci standing next to Robbie, and we're all like just 5 feet shorter.
Like his elbows.
Bob says Robbie makes me look like a midget. So if Robbie makes Bob look like a midget, that's even better because I'm gonna be like mini me. I am fun sized. Bob says.
Let me say.
Go ahead.
That we mentioned this on Thursday, but we're doing a kind of letter writing brigade. So if you have index cards, bring them to the conference, put your address on it and share so that you can join the letter writing brigade.
Oh, here's a challenge. Maybe David Weiss could make a bunch of flat earth postcards.
I actually have a stamp that is a postcard. I'm not even kidding. I'm bringing it with me. I need a stamp pad, though.
I can bring an ink pad. Multicolored.
And a whole bunch of index cards. It'll be pretty. Can decorate it.
Oh, heck yeah. I'm so juiced.
Yeah. Zulu got magnets and stickers.
Yeah.
I am so getting a magnet. I got back magnets, too, so I can put it on, like, my lab coat.
Hell yeah. That'll be bad. I see Horry swatting his mouse fly.
I didn't know if anybody was going to catch that.
I do too, but I don't know why it's showing up on mine. That's weird. It's on the Hangout. I see. I was all kinds of confused.
I was just being an ass.
I still don't see you, and I I don't know why yours is the one that's showing on here.
Now I'm in the Tesla with the Death Star and some space bubbles going by. You see that now?
Yep.
I'm good. Oh, man.
Gosh, that's so funny.
Wait till Caroline gets in here. I'm going to flat smack at some point, and I'm going to have a passenger in the back that's going to help think tank for me when it comes to spreading some flat earth truth. It's coming now that I got the studio set up. You know, it's just been a couple of days I had it set up. I've already done Robbie's commercial and another couple of orders on Fiverr, so I know, like, I'm ready to go, man. Now it's just a matter of time. We're going to be right back to Flat Smack and Chat Roulette. I can't wait for this. It's coming.
Yeah. I know, that was so funny when you both got in the Tesla. I was like dying. Like, we're basically sitting on a bar stool. Like, this does not sound pleasing.
I mean, this little piano bench is like this wide. So we have to like bunch up next to each other and be like, it's so funny.
Well, it isn't a very big front seat. It is a Tesla.
It is.
It is, yeah.
I guess if we're going to have more than two, then I have to get the... like
you said, the limo. Make it a limo.
It's either gonna have to be. I'm gonna have to extend the Tesla. I don't know how I'm gonna.
You have to one up Elon and make it a limo.
I thought I was just gonna ask D Marble to take a picture of his van, and so I cut out the windows, and I'll have people in the front seat and people in the back too.
Oh yeah, there you go. That would work too.
It might work. I gotta see. But yeah, I'm gonna change up the background of the space car thing here, and I'm gonna have D Marble's van come by. Charm Fear wants to come floating by. Alex, the conspiracy music guru guy, Flat Earth Man, you know, he's gonna,
he's awesome.
He's already sent me green screen videos that I could use to make him fly by and look crazy funny.
Oh hell yeah!
I'm gonna stick
he's got some good stuff.
I'm gonna stick Judith's ridiculous ass back there with some sex swings going by. I got something for her ass. For giving me that stupid strike.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna make fun of her, but I might put. Yeah, I'm gonna have fun with that. But yeah, I'm gonna change the background. So if anybody wants to be in the background, you got to be doing something good for Flat Earth, like you two or Alex or anybody. I'll stick you in the background if you want. You just got to email me. I got Alicia Kate. She's an awesome person. She drew up some fan art for me, so I'm gonna have some of her her fan art pictures she drew up coming through the background. Also, she hooked me up with a guy named Wes Blaze.
Oh yeah, Wes Blaze. He's got some real legit stuff.
Yeah, he's doing a music video, and Alicia Kate said, "Hey, he's looking for people to be in his music video. Why don't you get in the Tesla and make a little thing for him?" So me and him were talking last night. He's so excited. You know, I got him a video of me in the Tesla holding up a beer, saying what he wanted me to say.
I just picture you like as your blue person in your main Facebook that no one knows about. That's the name of, but like, oh my god!
Did you see that? Did you see that little video that I'm dancing and?
It's like the best ever.
I'm gonna show you the full version of that video. You're gonna laugh your little butt off.
Dude, I like that. I thought it was like a troll account. I'm like, did someone literally just find this video footage of Horry and like they're mocking him? And then it's like, no, it's my account. I'm like, oh my god, this is gold.
It's about 1.5 minutes long, and it's a real song, but I stuck myself in there to goof off because it's such a ridiculous song. But that video is only 7 seconds long, right? The little profile video.
Yeah.
I'm gonna show you the real one. You're gonna laugh your ass off.
Oh, the raw uncut.
Yeah, you're gonna laugh. It is ridiculously freaking stupid. It was one of the first goofy things I ever did with my green screen to be funny. So you can imagine how much more.
It's like a kid in a candy shop. It's an empty canvas. Like the possibilities are endless. I'm just more fascinated that that was the creative part of the consciousness that came out. Was this funny little blue man?
I know. I died. I'm a professional goofball.
Yeah, it was great. I was like, oh my god, I can't wait to hug Horry.
I know, right? I can't wait to hug you. You're such an awesome person, too. I love your brain, Meeshka. You're like on the road to all the shit that I'd been tapping into, but been too lazy to elaborate on. So that's why I wanted to get in on here to see what you guys are saying, so I can
we're all
pick your brain
of the puzzle.
Yeah, exactly.
The more we communicate, the more it resonates. It's just the law of sound physics.
Right. Right.
Yeah, but unfortunately, on that note, I'm gonna have to go.
Yeah, it's a good time to end it. I got some work
It is
to
good.
do.
I got a burrito getting cold in there.
Oh,
Right.
a burrito. All right. Well, everyone, just concentrate on good thoughts. Love. Just forgive people. Love yourselves. Learn yourself. Learn the construct. Research those CIA documents.
Yep. I'm gonna do, like I said, everybody. If you want to know what she's talking about with the CIA document, it's gonna be either tomorrow or the next day. I'm gonna do a live stream to fill my own brain in on the info, and I'm gonna read it out word for word. So if you don't want to read it and you want to hear my take on it based on personal experiences, what I've heard before, whatever, I'm gonna read it, and it might take, I don't know, like if it's 5 hours long, Meeshka, it might be a couple of streams, but I'm gonna start on it soon enough. So check it out, guys.
Pieces.
But thanks everybody, Meeshka, Seana, it has been fun. Love to do this. Let's do it again another time.
Thank you guys. Love you both.
Love you too, Ann.
All right,
Much
you guys
love,
have
y'all.
a good night.
Peace out. Bye-bye.
Peace.
Peace.